Hey guys, in this short video I'm going to run through a exercise that you can do if you feel a bit underconfident to try a boulder that might be inspiring for you but maybe is a little bit high, or the movement feels a bit too crazy and you're just like a bit unsure of the landing. If you feel like that about a boulder, then I recommend doing this exercise. Alright, so I'm here at this boulder in Albarracin. It's called Acalara. It's given 7A+. It feels a little bit uncomfortable for me because it's kind of tall, and from the videos that I've looked at, it looks like the final move is quite committing. It looks like it's quite far and it looks blind. It looks like you go into a hold that you can't really see from below. So all these things together, this is a boulder that's going to be perfect for helping me build confidence on. So we actually have whole courses on falling and climbing, including bouldering full practice, but this is going to be a really useful exercise for you if you already feel like you're a somewhat experienced boulderer, but you feel like some boulders are just like a bit outside your comfort zone. Alright, so the first thing is to make things as good for yourself as possible. And when I say good for yourself, I mean get as many pads as you possibly can, go with people that you feel comfortable with, go with people who can spot you well, go on a day where you're feeling good, where you've got energy, you know, just kind of get everything lined up for yourself as best as possible. But, and this is a really crucial but, don't wait for everything to be perfect, because you can always have more pads, you can always have more spotters, and at some point you've just got to try the things that look cool for you. Right, so the second thing is like about your mindset, and this is pretty important. So I think one of the reasons why people don't try things that are uncomfortable for them is because they think it's this all or nothing thing, like they have to get to the top or it's just no point trying it. And whenever you're approaching something that feels a bit scary, feels a bit uncomfortable, just let go of that attachment to getting to the top, or otherwise you're really unlikely to go, firstly, and secondly it's just going to create a lot of pressure when you're there. So just mentally let go of having to send this specific boulder. Alright, so the first thing you're going to do from a climbing perspective is obviously like warm up and then try the boulder. And you play around on the start, learn stuff about your landing. But the crucial thing here is to not go past where you feel too uncomfortable. So there's usually a point on a boulder where you're like, oh, I don't really want to go much higher, I feel a bit uncomfortable here. And at that point, it's good to take some practice falls. First, just jumping off, testing the landing, see if you actually feel good in your body about that fall. You learn so much from just testing it a few times. So that's what I'm going to do here. I've got a general idea of the spot on this boulder where I'm going to start to feel like that. And so you'll see how I'm going to do those practice falls now. So it looks a bit committing above, so I might just jump off here. But before I do, I might actually just touch that next hole to learn something about it. Okay. Nice, so it seems like the pads are good. You could move them out just a tiny bit, do you think? Alright, so on this problem I found the move that I don't really want to commit to, and that's basically like getting a hold, bringing my foot up, and then I just feel like, you know, the higher I stand, the higher I'm getting, and what if I can't get the next hold? So it's that move that I'm now going to break down, and that's the next step, is find that move where you're like, okay, I don't really think I can get to the next hold, So what should I do? Should I just like quit? Should I just like go for it? And I think that's the kind of the black and white space that people often end up in, is like, okay, I've either got to get this next hold or I've got to give up. Whereas this option is the alternative, which is to break down that move, and I'll show you how to do that now. So as you saw, what I did first is I would jump off before doing the move to check the landing, and then what I'm going to do is actually, instead of jumping, so the difference there is like when I'm jumping, I'm looking down, spotting my landing and purposefully jumping off. What I'm going to do in this instance is I'm going to break down the move and actually do a practice fall. So I'm going to fall in different stages of that move. So firstly, just standing up, letting go, and then reaching a bit more, and I'm going to learn something every time I do that.
Cool.
Getting more confident. So I think next time I'm going to actually like get on my weight above my foot and reach a bit and then fall. Yeah, I think now it's actually I'm getting to the point where I'm actually going to try the move, because I feel like I'm comfortable enough for the landing. But I don't want to take any more practice falls because my legs will just get tired. So I'm actually just like, okay, I'm going to go for it now. All right, so I've taken a practice fall pretty high. So I feel confident now that I'm actually going to go for the hold. But, and this is the sort of the next point, is you don't have to. You can get to that point. Like I could have got to that point and gone, you know what, that landing was like my max. I don't know if I will feel comfortable falling from any higher or falling with less control, for example. So you can always walk away from problems. And if you do that, don't chalk it up as a failure. Definitely chalk it up as a success, because you've basically come and you've practiced something, you've stepped outside your comfort zone, and that will be just building all your confidence for all the other boulders that you want to do. All right, so I was able to do that problem, and it was a really good problem, so that's great. But I've also walked away from tons of boulder problems because they've been too high or too scary. So don't let topping out be the mark of whether you've succeeded or failed with this exercise. It's more about learning and building confidence. There's so much more I could say about falling and landing in bouldering, but I think the key thing to remember is to not push past what's manageable for you. So just go to that place where, okay, maybe you feel a little bit uncomfortable, it feels a tiny bit scary, but don't force yourself to do moves or to go on boulder problems or go to a certain height that's going to really stress you out. Because as soon as you're stressed, we're more likely to land badly because we're super tense, and we're more likely to injure ourselves. Also, we're just not going to have a good time, and that's what it's all about, right? And you won't build confidence. You're more likely to actually go, you know what, high boulders are just not for me. So we really want to work in that space where we're a little bit uncomfortable and we're challenging ourselves, but we're not super stressed either. All right, I hope that's been helpful. If there's any questions that you have about any of this, let us know in the comments, or if there's anything else you want to learn about falling in bouldering, do let us know. Oh gosh.
Nice. Practice fall.
It wasn't a practice fall, I actually just fell.